how are we all doing? Are we having a good Halloween? I hope so. I have changed my hair. I'm hoping it's going to come out on camera the same colour it actually is. It's actually quite Hulk emerald green, but I feel that it's looking a little blue on camera. I think that's the undertone in the dye, but if anyone's interested, it is Directions apple green. And yes, I have gone back to black. I've missed my black hair. I didn't realise how much until the other day, but I've been having problems with brown hair dyes. They're just not taking. I just had a bit of fun with my makeup. We're doing a green and brown look, brown, black, with some rather obnoxious lashes for me anyway. They're probably quite tame for everybody else, but I feel they're quite obnoxious for me. So it is Halloween. It is Halloween. I hope you're all having a very spooky day. We're actually away this weekend again. I know, it doesn't stop, does it? So I wanted to do, not sure, don't have a lot of time to film before we're heading out. So I have 2 videos I'm hoping to film today. One for Halloween, obviously, and one for next weekend because I'm away with the bestie. And then in a couple of weeks I've got 2 weeks off. So I am hoping to do a lot of filming and maybe even take myself up to the dreaded C word, and get some of that all done and out of the way, because maybe even some for next year. So depending on what goes on with the hair, you may see the green reappear even though I may have changed it, who knows. I just want to get some videos done because life is starting to get busy again and I'd like some backups for when it is. So if any of you are interested, my earrings are from Simply Gothic, made by the wonderful Simply Spooky little Kirsty, and my necklace also, my Bite Me, and this is obviously Scarlet in Chains, of course. My bracelets are Scarlet in Chains, and my fabulous little bow, which I'm hoping you can see, is very new from Gothic Hats. So I was hoping when I had all my hair cut short, my bigger bows kind of take over at the moment. I was hoping she was going to do some little ones, and she has. So I have a couple of those now, and they're really cool. So just give you a quick look again for the camera, hoping you can see it. I believe this is my vampire one. I think it's got a skull and teeth, which is kind of spooky. So should we just get into the video and I'll start up. Let me just move this slightly. I do have a kitty bubble today. She's over here. She's being very miserable today. Because this is tattoo tour number 3. Yes, because the first one was accidental and it wasn't meant to happen. So last week would have been my Joel P. Blake one, and this is my Emma Smith collection. So Emma is a fairly local artist. She works out of currently a tattoo shop called Black Heart in Trowbridge, which is in Wiltshire for anyone who's not sure. She was previously at a tattoo shop. She's owned them all. She's had to move for various landlord rent issues and price hikes and various different things, and she is a one-woman show, so you know these things happen. So previously she was at FTH, and prior to that she was in Vaults, all in the same town. But again, rent, pricing, everything else has caused problems. I keep thinking that this little bit of wallpaper here is actually a curl coming out of my hair, and it's not. So apologies for that. So I have been getting tattooed by Emma for, I cannot remember how long. My first tattoo by her was actually at a gig of all places. It was a rock diabetes event, and sadly I have had it covered. It was here. I'm not sure that I have any pictures of it to hand. If I do, I will pop something up. But it was basically a you know, like the ribbon, the awareness ribbon, and it had a music score coming out of it. And yeah, it was really cool. It had some stars on it as well for people that I know that have diabetes. Kind of wanted to represent them as well. And yeah, it was a nice tattoo. The only thing wrong with it, as I've grown older, was its placement. But I had it for about 10 years before I had it covered up, and now it is obviously my bat and lamp. Moving from there, when I met her, it was at this, like I said, it was at this gig, and she had this piece up on the wall advertising the work that she does, and I was like, is that available? Because I kind of really like that. I keep seeing it every time I've been walking around. Is it available? And she went, actually, I'm selling it off quite cheap if you're interested. It was designed for somebody who then changed their minds, and the design's there, so if you want it, and you can put a deposit down, we'll book a date and it's yours. And that is my angel here. Now, the original design is this one, and yes, it has been updated since by Katia, but I will explain why. So this one was done, probably not too long after I first met her. So I believe the gig that I went to was in the October, and I believe this was done in the January. So it wasn't a massive amount of time between meeting her and getting this one done. It was a day booking, so we were just kind of chilled, getting the placement right. And because my arms are so large, we had a lot to play with. And I believe we went back and put some filigree around it in a second session that I had with her when I was getting something else done. I love her. She's awesome. I think she's very beautiful. Like I said, I have had her updated, and Emma is fully aware that I've had this done. I've spoken to her about it, but the reason I had it done was because the work that Kat had done on my arm was so dark compared to a 10-year-old piece on my arm, that we wanted to darken her up a little bit, so we went with this, which it now is, which is the demon eyes and the darker feathers, to just really tie it in and make it look like a sleeve. So that's why that was done. It was nothing to do with the original design. It was nothing that I disliked about it. It literally was just a case of let's do something. Now bear with me just 1 second, because I have a feeling why my lighting is off is because I've got natural lighting and I've got that on. That's better. That's better. See, it's still showing blue though, isn't it? It's not. It's bright Hulk green. Go and have a look at Instagram. Go and have a look. So after I had my angel done, I had another piece done, which was my. I love her. I love her. Yes, excuse my hair blowing in the wind. My fan is on. It is October and I am still flaming hot. Is my Audrey Hepburn piece. Now, I had in my bedroom at the time a kind of vinyl peel off stencil thing that you can put on walls that don't damage them, and because I was in rented accommodation, I didn't want to keep putting nails in the wall, so I had to use what nails were already there without putting additional holes. So I bought this 2D stencil and I took a picture of it and said, can you do this, but goth her up a little bit please? So we came up with this one. So this is my Audrey Hepburn, and she is on the outside of my left lower leg. We have evolved her since she was first done, so I love the fact that she has tattoos. She looks a little bit badass, let's be honest. We did have difficulty with her face, and the reason we had so much difficulty, so she doesn't look 100% right. It's not a problem. I love her anyway, but the reason she's a little bit off in her facial features is when I had the stencil, and if I can find a picture of the stencil I will put it up, it kind of was just showing the dark parts of her face, if that makes sense. So it was very much, you put this stencil up and it's the black bits, so you would get like an eyebrow and part of an eye, and you literally only had her nostril holes as part of the stencil, so there was no shading around the nose at all. You had to kind of guess where it was, and when we put it on the leg, we looked at it and we went, it doesn't look right without pulling some feature of her nose. So it was a little bit awkward to try and get that. So, you know, if someone has a criticism about it, I really don't care. But that's why it was based off this 2D black and white picture, and then we added the rest to it. So alongside Audrey, on the back of my leg at the time, on the same legs, on the back of my lower left leg, just behind my knee, I had a nymph. Now, I'm not going to say where this was tattooed, who the artist was or anything. Anyone who was around at the time knows who it was. But they were where I was living at that time, they were a well-known person in the tattoo community. And I took a drawing to them that I had done, and I said, can you tattoo this exactly as it is? And they went, yep, not a problem. Now, what they actually did was they took my design and changed it, which I'd asked them specifically not to do. And there was a reason behind it, which I don't want to go into here, it's personal, but I didn't want it changed. And they did. And it didn't come out how I wanted it. And because it was on the back of my leg, and when you're in that situation of being tattooed, you kind of look at something, you're like, yeah, and they're trying to get you out for the next person coming in. Sometimes you can feel a little rushed, and it's not until it's healed and you spend time looking at it that you think, actually, maybe it's not as it should be. Now, being on the back of my leg, it's not a place where I was constantly looking at it, so it took me a while to realise that what they'd done was very wrong. So I had imagine a girl with long hair, bent in half, so she stood up with her legs up, and imagine she's elevated, if that makes sense. So she was stood up, bent over at the hips, almost bent double. She had her feet pointed like that, side by side, and she was profile on, so this is a side view. So her feet were pointed, one slightly behind the other, just so you could tell she had 2 feet. And then when she was bent down, her hands crossed and went between her feet, and her hair was down, and from her back she had 2 wings. What they'd done was change her arms, and I don't know why they changed her arms, but they did, and it made it look like they were both coming out of the same shoulder, and that one of them was bent forwards in the elbow, which is completely impossible to do unless you have no elbow joints properly. So it was I never fell in love with it as a tattoo. I liked it, I never fell in love with it. And I'm a person who has to love my tattoos, or I just lose interest in them and I get something else done. So having spent the money, I was a bit annoyed, to be honest, that had happened, but what can you do? So I spoke to Emma and said, look, I've got this design, I'm not enamoured with it anymore. I've had it, I think at that point I'd probably had it 8-9 years. And I said, would you help me do a cover up? So alongside Audrey, that I wanted to kind of frame, we came up with this. Now, this may be quite hard to see. I don't know that I have any of the original photographs left when we made this one. But she actually took the nymph and made her into a masquerade, a butterfly mask, which is butterfly-esque, but not a butterfly, because I don't like butterfly tattoos. They're not for me. So yeah, she did this kind of lacy winged mask. I believe that, I can't remember what's on it. I'll have a quick look. There's a what's on there? There's a rose, there's a pocket watch, a heart-shaped pocket watch, and it says the time is set to 9 o'clock, because 9 in 24-hour clock is 21, which is my lucky number and means a lot in the Griffins and I relationship. So if you've been through that story with my Christmas vlog previously, so yeah, 21 is a relevant number to us, so I wanted 9 o'clock on there. It's a heart-shaped pocket watch, so it's not your traditional pocket watch, and it's more of a locket, filigree locket, than a open pocket watch. I wanted something a little bit different, but I do love it. Will I finish off what's underneath, bearing in mind that it goes to where Edgar is? I don't know, and the reason for that is just the issues with the area and my nerves still. It was painful, so I don't know that I want to go there just yet. I would love to have some more roses on there just to finish that piece off, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see where we go in the future. So yeah, that's that piece. It has quite a bit of story to it, but we also put the frame around Audrey, and the frame does go down onto my foot, which I will try and put a picture of as well. From there, I've had quite a few sessions with Emma, to be fair. I wanted something that would keep my feminine kind of look on that leg, and I went with this one. So this sits on the back of my left leg, and I have to say, this is quite possibly, prior to having Edgar done on nerve damage, the one tattoo I've hated having done. She's beautiful, I love her, I wish she was in a place that I could see her more often, but she's not, and I can live with that. But the staff of her spear is right down my sciatic nerve. There were a few choice swear words when this one happened, and I think Emma got called everything under the sun. I'm one of those people that if someone goes, this is going to take another half an hour, I can prepare myself for half an hour of pain. Unfortunately, she decided to tell me it was nearly done, just a couple of minutes, just a couple more minutes. 45 minutes later, and I'm still, I was just done, needed it over and done with. I did do the full sitting. It was just that one section, because of the detail, that was just really painful. So I don't recommend having detailed work on your sciatic nerve area. It's painful. But I do love my warrior. She continues my kind of Japanese thigh-esque theme that I was kind of going with at that time. And so yeah, it's been a lot of work in that. Obviously I've changed now down to all my dark gothic tattoos. But yeah, I still love my Japanese ones, so they're not going anywhere. So we then went on to the back of my other leg, and we have this one. So this is my geometric mandala jeweled cat. Wanted something cat-like, bit different, and kind of gave her free rein, sent her some pictures that I liked. Ooh, excuse me yawning there. Sent her some pictures that I liked. Wanted again to keep within the same colour scheme. So this is on the back of my right leg, so I wanted to keep that kind of pink and orange. We went more orange with this one, and that's fine, it's cool. I do have some space around it, so I'm not sure what we're going with yet, or who will be the artist for that one. But there's some work I can get done there, maybe some floral work or some more mandala work, maybe a dot work mandala behind it. Oh, maybe that's one for Tamsin. Plans are afoot. But yeah, that's my gym, my cat anyway. Part Egyptian, part different, part mandala, part bejeweled cat head basically. I'm trying to think what the next one is. I'm just looking around my body. I can't guarantee that I've got these in order, but at some point between all these other ones, I believe, I had this one done. Now this is a hummingbird, and it is actually part of a pair, and the other pair is on my bestie, So we went together, we booked the session, we decided what we wanted, the design was drawn up ahead of time, and well, there's two differences between the tattoos. My hummingbird has quite feathery tail feathers and is in pink and orange, and also continues my music notes from my foot. And the bestie has hers in blue and purple, and she has different shaped, more like petal shaped tail feathers for hers. So we had, I'm sure she's got tail feathers. I'm not sure what they look like now, I've not seen it for a while. You know those things when you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that's, and then you forget what it looks like. It's one of those moments. But yeah, hers is on her thigh and mine is actually on the front of my calf, and it goes into one of the lilies from Joel's piece that's on the side of my leg. So it all kind of works in quite nicely. And then next to that one we have Nora, and Nora is my bat. This is a design that we have based off of someone else. I have seen this on mugs, cups, but I've only seen it after I had the original design. I knew what I wanted, I couldn't find it, so I did a Google and I said, this is what I want a bat. I kind of want that, again, that mandala-y look to keep in what I had with my cat. And I found this one, but can you do your spin on it? Since then, like I said, I have seen this design on mugs, cups, embroidery, pictures. So unfortunately, I can't give credit to the original designer because I don't know who it is. But if you by chance ever see this, thank you very much, because I do love my Nora, and this is this one. So she is, again, pinks, oranges, mainly black and white, but I also wanted to put jewels across the top that are moon phases, so they are meant to be like that. The jewel work didn't take brilliantly, so I am going to have that redone at some point, hopefully next month, because I believe Brittany's going to help me out with that piece, because I'm unable to get to Trowbridge at the moment. So yeah, hopefully my jewels will be revived a little bit, but they are moon phases. Excuse me, I've got yawns today. You think I haven't been to bed? I have. I'm just yawning a lot, and I do apologise. So yeah, that's my bats, and that kind of started my more gothic-y, spooky tattoos, if you want to call them that. And going down the bat route was kind of the first one. From there, I'm trying to think what we've done next. What else have we done? Oh, she's done my thigh piece. She's done my thigh piece. So my next one was my raven and skull, and that is this one. And this is also on my left leg, so this is on my front thigh. Not seen very often. I'm not one to get my thighs out in public particularly, but occasionally if I've got a shorter skirt and I've got tights, you can see it. I also wanted some text with this one, and the original idea was that I would have two thigh pieces, both quite gothic. One which is this one, and the other that also had writing, but I didn't know what I wanted. I was looking at having a Morrigan, so a shape-shifting witch with a raven, and there was going to be some wording, so it would almost make a sentence, even though not a perfectly grammatical one, if you read the two together, but then each part of it on its own would stand together. Each part would stand alone as well as together. So the wording on this one is "Look for beauty in darkness." I love it. I do love it. I do love my raven and skull. It goes very, very well with my Edgar Allan Poe because it's on the same leg, and again it's that gothic-y theme that I wanted to continue. Now, I didn't get the other side done, and there is a reason for that. not because I didn't want it, but because lockdown hit, never got a chance to book it. Well, we did book it and various things happened to stop us having that appointment. So I believe at one point Emma cancelled, and then we had to cancel, and then lockdown hit, and it was just a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So that one never got done by her. So you will be aware that through my Catty video, I have my plague doctor on this side. My plague doctor was originally meant to go in this gap here, but it didn't fit, so I ended up having it on my thigh at a separate point. So I probably do have space for my Morrigan, but I don't know where or when or at what point I will have that done. So yeah, they were meant to be a matching pair, but you know, I'm allowed to change my mind, and I went with my plague doctor instead. And then the last one that I had done, so obviously I had booked this slot with Emma to get my Morrigan done, that never happened, but we share, what we tend to do is the Griffin comes with me and we share a day rate between us, and I'll get a piece done and he'll get his piece done. And he needed his sleeves finished, which we will do a tattoo tour of the Griffins at some point. I'll add him into our odds and sods tattoo video, because that won't take very long for me at all. So he needed his tattoo sleeve finished, and I actually had a tattoo behind my ear that again at the time was a matching pair to somebody I knew. We are no longer in touch, we don't really have the same group of friends anymore, and the tattoo itself had kind of bled a little bit, so it didn't look as good as it did before. Now it was a set of 3 stars, and it had my initials and this person's initial, so it had an M and a V, and it all kind of just bled into one. Whether it was placement, I don't know. Whether it was, I mean, it was done a very, very long time ago, so you know, it could just be that things have improved since then, I don't know. But Emma very kindly covered it up for me with this one, which I always forget that I have. So this is the before and after photo, and then this is obviously the close-up of that particular one. And that's it for my work with Emma Smith. You can find her on Instagram, and her Instagram handle is MEM_Blackheart, and you'll find a lot of her recent work that she's done. And yeah, I mean, you know, go and check her out. If you like her style, then go and book with her. Lovely lady. Has a store, like I said, in Trowbridge in Wiltshire, and I'm not sure if I'm going back to her for any piece at the moment. I'm looking for new artists. I'm running out of space. I have a few bits and pieces I want done, but I'm looking to... Ooh, I'm an idiot. I'm lying to you all. I am lying to you. She's done my back, hasn't she? I'm useless. I'm totally useless. So, before I disappear, Emma has done 2 more tattoos for me, and she has done my back. So these will be the bits you see occasionally peeking out over my shoulders. And the first one she did, I'm so sorry, I totally forgot about these. This one, this is my... I can't explain my back. I can't explain it. My back is a mixture of symbols, religion, Wiccan, just stuff that has... See, I can't explain without telling you what's down my spine, but I don't have a picture of my spine. So I have another video that I will be doing in time where I will get the Griffin to take pictures of all the different bits I've got down my spine. But Emma's actually done 3 pieces on my back. She's not done 2, she's done 3. I am totally useless. She's done quite a bit of my work actually. So the first one I'm going to talk about is this one. So this is my kind of Buddhist. I was into a lot of meditation, calming influences, kind of needing headspace, and that's kind of what this represented for me. It was that I have a meditation stand, I have space for me, and that's what this one represented, if that makes sense. So I wanted something a little bit colourful, I wanted mandala, I wanted detail, and she came up with this design. And this is on this shoulder at the back, and it takes up a good chunk of my back. And then on the other side we did a matching one, and we did this one, and this is my Hamsa Hand, or Hand of Hamsa, and my Eye of Horus. Now when you look at a Hamsa Hand and what they represent, if somebody's always watching you or somebody's looking out for you, I suppose, I kind of wanted that someone's got my back. At the time these two were done, there was a lot going on in my personal life. There was a lot of stuff going on at work. I wasn't necessarily in the greatest of places for me. I mean, my relationship has always been fab, but things like work, career, study, I wasn't content with where I was, and I felt that in lots of other areas of my life people were not necessarily stabbing me in the back, but letting me down. I didn't feel I was fully comfortable with everyone that was around me, and it mainly was around work, not really knowing where I was going, and just knowing that something had my back, other than obviously the Griffin, but that 24/7 there was something there. Not that I'm massively spiritual or you know, religious in that way, but that I just had that symbolism of it's okay, someone's got your back, we'll be fine, kind of getting me through no matter what was going on at the time. And it could have been something trivial, it could have been something quite major. I was going through a job change, there was a lot of unease at the job I was at the time, and it was that kind of needing something to believe in, just to get me through each thing. But when you look at the eye that's normally in the Hamsa Hand, I found a lot of the designs I was looking at that it was a little bit creepy. The eyes were either half closed or a bit starey, so I asked if we could go for one of the other things I love, which is the Eye of Horus, and add that into the design rather than the traditional starey open Hamsa Hand eye. And of course Emma worked that in there for me. So again, it has a kind of a tie into the other piece, and I'll put a picture up here of the two together. They have a tie into each other, they have that bright vivid colour, that bit of watercolour work, the mandala, and you can see that the two are meant to go together. There's also the floral work, again keeping them feminine without being overly girly, and without keeping them too kind of geometric, just statement pieces. I love that she's done that. The other one she did for me was the completion of my spinal work. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, can't remember, it's 7 or 8 tattoos down my spine, and each one goes from the top of my neck to literally the top of my bottom crack, let's put it that way, is a point in my spine where I broke it. I broke my spine. So I had a very, very bad fall, which I will go into in another video, and I was getting x-rayed on a regular basis for vertical cracks in my spinal bones, and each one had to keep being marked, and it took forever to get an they would literally go in, x-ray, mark all the points, mark it up on my back, and then I would have to go and have each individual section close-up x-rayed. So I was there 3-4 hours at a time, just getting x-rayed, getting marked, getting oh, it was awful. I hated it. So I asked them after one of my sessions, could you leave the marks on my back? And I went to a local tattooist who was aware of what was going on and went, can you just mark up with a dot or a little circle or something the centre of each of these points, please, so as at some point I can get them done. And I will go into that at another time. Now is not the time. But one of the ones I'd never managed to get done was this one, mainly because long story, fell out with them and didn't want to go back there, and didn't really know what I wanted. Well, I did, but I don't know, just never got round to it. So I said to Emma, would you do this piece for me? Knowing it would still probably be quite painful to get done, and knowing it would be in an awkward place to heal because of how much I move, we went with dot work, and I love it. It's so pretty. It's very different from everything else that I have that's quite solid. But yeah, we'll do my spinal ones another day. So that is it. That is everything she's done for me, I believe. I just need to do a quick recap. Yeah, that's all of them now. That's everything. So as I said, you can find her on Instagram under MEM_Blackheart. Go and check out her work, and if you're interested, by all means go and make an appointment with her. She does have a bit of a waiting list, but she is pretty accommodating at the same time. So I'm going to disappear. I'm going to go and do another film, so apologies if you see this look again, but hopefully I won't be on screen for too much, because I'm going to do my gallery wall as a bit of a round off to Halloween area. A lot of people have been asking where all the bits have come from when they've seen it on Instagram, so I'm going to give you a rundown. Now that it's finished, I will give you a rundown of that. So wherever you are, I hope you have a wonderful and very safe Halloween, and I will leave you, rather than my normal, well, I will put my normal credits up at the end, but there's a couple of people who would like to say this.